You're listening to The Mountain Spirit, a podcast of Christian Appalachian Project, where we explore the stories, voices, and change makers shaping Appalachia. Today's guest is Pete Fingerson. He's the Executive Director of the Powell County Tourism Commission and operator of the Red River Gorge Visitor Center. Pete is passionate about all things Kentucky, especially the Red River Gorge. Through his work in tourism, he helps welcome visitors to one of Kentucky's most beloved natural destinations, while he also works to preserve the integrity, culture, and character of the Red River Gorge and the communities that call it home. The Gorge is known for hiking, climbing, outdoor adventures, natural bridge, and its remarkable natural beauty, including over 1,000 natural arches and nearly 29,000 acres of canyon in and around the Daniel Boone National Forest. Pete, that is a whole mouthful. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me here, Tina. I'm excited to be here and tell you all about the Red River Gorge.
All right, well, let's jump right in then. Can you before we even talk about tourism and around the gorge, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What led you and your wife, Aubrey, to the area to make the gorge your home?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, so I was actually born and raised in LaGrange, so Oldham County, outside of Louisville. And I graduated from the University of Louisville. And my wife and I got married shortly after I graduated in 2010. So we had a house there in Louisville. It was kind of in the Germantown area, right outside of downtown. It was a nice little home, but you could basically reach your arm out and touch your neighbors on your side, you know.
Yep.
And so we kind of realized that we didn't really want to live in the city anymore. We really wanted some more space and some more different pace of life and everything. So we ended up selling our house I believe that was 2017 or so. And so we sold our home, saved that money that we made on our home, moved in with some family for a couple of years while we saved up and figured out where we wanted to go and what we wanted to do. And before that, we had some friends bring us out to the Red River Gorge. This was probably 12 or 15 years ago at this point. But we kind of decided we love that area. Maybe we should look over there. And so we ended up, we literally looked at one piece of property. We contacted a realtor down here and he showed us one piece of property and we were like, well, this is awesome. Let's do it. So we bought 42 acres, and so now we have, and that was in 2018 when we purchased that. And so we've had that out there, and we've been kind of slowly building that up. It was all raw land. It was actually an old strip mine, and it was all logged, so it really needed some love. So we actually named the property Restoration Acres. That's my wife's business as well, and so. Yeah. We named it that just to kind of we're going to try to restore this land and really try to help grow it and build a big garden on here and really try to steward this land as best as we can. And so we've been out here. We moved out here officially in the height of the pandemic in May of 2020. It was the perfect time to get out in the woods. It was perfect planning. So we've been out here since May 2020 and we've been here ever since and haven't looked back.
There you go. I love it. I love that idea of sometimes you just need more space and having the opportunity to be in a beautiful setting. Yeah. Like I've been to Red River Gorge area, love Natural Bridge. It you can't even describe how beautiful it is. People really do need to come, not just looking at pictures, but come see it and experience it. So let's tell them why. Yeah. You described the Red River Gorge as a special place. What was it about this area that captured your heart and made you want to put down roots right there in the gorge area? Yeah,
really the scenic beauty and just kind of the feeling of freedom that we had when we got here, you know, when we, and even now still, even as last Sunday when my wife and I were in Lexington, as soon as we got onto 64 and we hopped on the Mountain Parkway, my body just almost immediately takes a big sigh of relief when I get on that parkway, and then mile marker 10 when I start to see the mountains. It's just a great feeling, and that was something that we had been feeling ever since we started to visit out here, and so it just really felt like a place that we could call home. My wife and I are both very nature centric. We both love being outdoors. We were basically, before we moved out here and bought property, we were out here almost every weekend anyway, just because it's like, working 9 to 5 in the city, and then it's like, all right, let's go out to the Red River Gorge and go do some hiking. And we backpacked all over the place here, and just really felt a strong connection to the area.
Yeah. So for listeners who may have never visited, how would you describe the Gorge and what makes it a unique destination in Appalachia? Because there's a lot of natural beauty in Appalachia. What makes Red River Gorge stand out?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So as you stated in the intro, the Red River Gorge is it's a 29,000 acre canyon system. So think of it like kind of a mini Grand Canyon. A very mini Grand Canyon with lots and lots of arches. So our main attraction here is our natural sandstone arches, as well as our cliff line. We're a world-class rock climbing destination. We have like 5,000 different climbing routes in the area. The Climbers Coalition out here is one of the biggest in the world, and they own the most land. The coalition itself owns the most land of any other climbers organization in the whole world. They also throw the biggest rock climbing festival in the entire country because of our unique geological features. So the Red River Gorge is also a national geological area. So people come out here to study. The UK Geology Department is out here all the time. There's just a lot of really unique features out here. And like a lot of Eastern Kentucky, I mean, you go to Harlan or Prestonsburg or, sorry, I'm looking at the map above my desk here and just trying to think of some other places. But there's just really a lot of beauty, especially in Eastern Kentucky. But it also really is different because, the state as a whole is really unique because, in Western Kentucky, you have all of your caves and your a lot of lakes and a lot of underground stuff. And then you move towards Central Kentucky and you have a lot of flat and horse farms and bourbon. And then Eastern Kentucky has more hills and mountains and the arches. So also in your introduction, you said that there's over 1,000 documented arches here, which is true. In the entire state, there's over 3,000 documented sandstone arches.
Wow.
Sorry, not just sandstone, but there's some limestone, but they're primarily sandstone. To put that into perspective, we have the second highest concentration of arches, second only to Utah.
Oh my goodness.
So when people hear arches, they're like, oh, Arches National Park, Utah. But like, no, we have just as many, and we will actually surpass them in terms of documented arches in the next few years, because that's the beauty of out here as well, is all the arches in Utah are pretty exposed. They've all been documented. But out here, it's all forest, and it's just this, kind of wild land out there. And there's still like documenting and finding new arches all the time, which also just, kind of enhances the lure and the draw of the area too, because sometimes you might just stumble upon something really cool.
So you've talked about what's there, like in terms of the Rock Climbers Association, the convention there, which was very surprising to me. So I'm hoping people take advantage of that. But also, as this become more popular with hikers and climbers and families and outdoor enthusiasts, what changes have you seen as more people discover the area?
Yeah, so the Red River Gorge has been here, well, technically millions of years. It's been here, but it really, and even before COVID, it was popular. It's been growing pretty steadily over the last few decades, but COVID really helped spike popularity of the area here, because I'm sure everybody can remember, March 2020, things shut down, right? Everything shut down. Couldn't even really go outside. Because we were scared of everything. But the first things that opened back up were the outdoor spaces. Yeah. And so people flocked to this area. I think business owners and cabin owners weren't even really expecting that to happen. I think they were still used to the couple of months of not having anything open or doing anything. But I think there was just a massive influx of people that started to visit here because they were feeling cooped up and they needed fresh air and they needed to move their legs and they needed, connection with nature. I know I feel like, if I'm in my office for more than an hour or two, I got to go walk outside and put my face to the sun and breathe some fresh air. And so I think that after a couple of months of being cooped up inside, people were like, we got to go outside. And a lot of people came to the Red River Gorge, and it really hasn't slowed down since. So we've been seeing around 1 million visitors every year last few years, which is a lot of people. And I'll back up a little bit as well and kind of explain a little bit about the region itself. So the Red River Gorge itself is that 29,000 acre canyon system. Really 40,000 if you include the Clifty Wilderness area, which is a federally designated wilderness area, which is connected to the Red River Gorge. So we kind of say 40,000 acre canyon system, but anywho, technical details. But the Red River Gorge region itself is basically a 5-county region. So I'm here in Powell County, but we also have Wolfe County is another, Lee County, Estill County, and Menifee County are all part of the Red River Gorge region. And so the region itself has been welcoming about that many visitors here. I'm the tourism director for Powell County, but there's also tourism directors in the other counties. And since we all want to see the area grow as a whole, because we do believe that a rising tide raises all ships, we don't, visitors 99% of the time don't really see county lines, and they don't, they're not driving down the road and be like, oh no, we're in Wolfe County, we got to turn around. So we actually formed an official subcommittee of all of our tourism commissions. It's called the Fellowship of the Gorge. If there's any other Lord of the Rings fans listening out there, we call it the Fellowship of the Gorge, and it's basically like a cohesive marketing group. So we also set up at the state fair. So come out and see us at the state fair as well. We'll have a Red River Gorge regional booth where we'll have representatives from all 5 counties. We do try to help illuminate the whole region, and not even just the Red River Gorge, but all of Eastern Kentucky.
We've had other tourism directors on before, and we talked about the economic opportunity there for local communities. But we also know that tourism can bring its own set of challenges. So what does that mean for you in practical terms when you're balancing the economic development for the area and also wanting to keep the area pristine and special for what it exists? That's
a wonderful question. And yes, I see tourism from both sides. I do see that tourism has a lot of benefit. For example, in 2025, Powell County brought in $19 million, or had a $19 million economic impact from tourism alone.
Wow.
And it supported 164 jobs. I actually think that job number is really low. I'm not sure how the state calculates that, but I think that we support probably closer to 250 or 300 jobs in the area.
Yeah.
And those jobs, have the occupational tax. That occupational tax goes into the county general fund. So all of those jobs do have a pretty massive benefit for the community as well. So there's the positive that people are coming here. They're staying overnight. They're spending money in our restaurants and our attractions. They're seeing our beauty, and a lot of them want to come back. We did a strategic planning survey in 2023, and I think it was something like 80% of the people had been here before. So we have a lot of returning people because they come here and they fall in love with it. And so, but that being said, there are some downsides to over tourism or tourism in general. One of those being, a lot of times on a busy Saturday in our peak season, like October, a lot of times like the trailheads are full and people are just making up parking spots and parking wherever. And there's, quite a few downsides with that because of, because we are still a pretty small area, we lack the infrastructure to sometimes to, accommodate the number of visitors we see. We obviously want visitors to come, but we hope that they are respectful when they come as well.
Yeah.
Don't leave your trash, leave no trace. We do try to promote leave no trace principles here. We actually have a partnership with AL8.
Wow.
And so we have cases of AL8 and Roxacola in our fridge. And if you pick up trash on the trail or really anywhere, come in here and we'll give you a free AL8 or a Roxacola. Yeah. So if any of your listeners are on here, like pick up some trash in the area and come on in, we'll give you a free AL8. So that's just one of the few things that we try to do to try to mitigate some of those negative impacts.
Yeah.
Another unfortunate thing that happens with like the short-term rental market, for example, and Airbnbs, a lot of people sell their home to become a short-term rental instead of a starter home for a family.
Yeah.
So if, a lot of investors, especially, right near COVID, like that's when property values skyrocketed here. Like my wife and I bought our property in 2018, but if we had tried to buy that same piece of property in 2022, for example, like we probably couldn't have afforded it.
Yeah.
And same with like lumber prices, everything skyrocketed then. But a lot of people and a lot of investors, especially from out of state, have come in and bought up a lot of the housing inventory. So we're, and it's not just here, it's a statewide, it's a nationwide issue, really. There's a housing shortage.
Yeah.
And so I know that, the short-term rentals don't support that, they're but I do see that the rapid growth that we were seeing here has slowed a little bit in terms of new cabins being built. I do think that is slowing a little bit. We're kind of teetering on the edge of like a saturation point between our inventory of rentals versus like our occupancy rate. And so I do think that there's some of those cabins, there's a lot more cabins on the market now, and some of those are turning into homes, which I do like to see as well. I might get in trouble for saying that because, I'm supposed to be all pro, more heads, or more, more cabins. But at the same time, I moved out here because I loved the area and I loved the culture here and I loved everything about it. And I don't want to see that change. That's with my role here. I really want to help preserve that culture and the uniqueness of the area. And so I guess to go back to your original question, I do see both sides of the coin, and we try to navigate that. It is kind of a fine line. We do definitely support economic growth and economic impact, but we also want to preserve the culture and integrity of the area.
Yeah, that's a great perspective to look at, and that's also a good segue into my next question. That's because you said that preserving the integrity and culture of Red River Gorge is very important to you. But what does that mean in practical terms, and how you live out like the protection of the area to make sure that it is there long term for others in the future to come behind you?
Yeah, I guess to bring it back to that, the Leave No Trace campaign we do with AL8, like we want people to come here and help pick up trash, because some people don't have that respect for the outdoors. They might come here and throw a can out the window or something. And so we want to try to raise awareness that, that's not cool. Like come here and visit, but like, take care of our area. Another example is we actually just installed a 22.5 kilowatt solar panel system on our visitor center. And so we want to try to be as sustainable as possible here at our visitor center as well. With the solar, we also installed 2 electric vehicle chargers. And so and they're free to use. but we do ask for donations for our Powell County Search and Rescue team. So a lot of our organizations around here are volunteer. All of our fire departments are volunteer. Our search and rescue is volunteer. They are volunteers, but they are very good at what they do.
Yeah.
So we do try to raise money for them as well with our EV charging and a few other fundraisers throughout the year. Another thing is just really trying to disperse people out, kind of like I was referencing earlier, to some different less traveled or maybe more hidden gem type places to try to bring economic growth to areas that really need it as well.
Yeah.
And so we do want to see this place grow, but we also want it to be in a sustainable way.
Yeah.
And so that's why we are pro growth, but pro sustainable growth, organic growth.
Your generosity has a direct and positive impact in the lives of people in need in Appalachia every day. It is the unwavering support of faithful friends like you that make this work possible. Many of our supporters are beginning to plan and envision what kind of legacy they want to leave to support the causes that are near and dear to their hearts. CAP is happy to provide a safe and easy experience for people to create a will and support CAP through non-cash gifts. Through our partnership with Free Will, CAP offers our donors the ability to create a will online and alter it at no charge. Our partnership with Free Will also includes their Smart Giving Suite, which allows donors to give through their IRA, donor advised funds, and stock online, in addition to creating a will for free. In recent years, Appalachia has faced unrelenting challenges, including the pandemic, inflation, and back-to-back natural disasters. You can make a life-changing impact and leave a legacy of hope in Appalachia. To learn more about non-cash giving opportunities, please visit christianapp.org/more ways to give.
What can visitors do to be good stewards of the gorge and respectful guests in the surrounding community? So maybe when they're not hiking, but they're out shopping, or if they're in a restaurant, how can folks who are visiting the area, when they're supporting the economic development of the community, really respect the area?
Yeah, I guess that is the main thing as well. Like if you are out and about, like spend your money. We want it. We like our businesses, our small business. We don't really have many chains here, so it's all locally owned stuff. So the more money you can spend and inject into our local community, that's amazing. Like that,
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing you can do right there. Another thing is like learning and what we have some like different worksheets and handouts and stuff here at the visitor center, like leaf identification and bird identification. And I think that if visitors and folks can have more connection to nature and the natural world, then that will naturally bring out healthier respect for an area. I know that like when I travel, I'm kind of into birds, not like a huge bird guy, but like I really like them. And so when I travel to a different area and I hear a different bird sound, like I'll get out my Merlin app and like, oh, what kind of bird is that? It's like, oh, it's this. That's kind of cool. And so I'll like learn about that. And it kind of gives me a little bit of a deeper connection and understanding of an area. And I think that really helps. If you have that deeper connection to an area, you're less likely to abuse it or throw your trash out the window or something like that. So we try to really deepen people's perspectives and connections with our area so that kind of overflows into other areas, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. We talked a little bit in the intro and then leading in of like all the different things that we just talk about, hiking and rock climbing, but there's also like outdoor experiences like kayaking and things like that, zip lining. So when people think about the variety of experiences that you can have when you're in the area, what do you think of when you think of a first-time visitor? What would you recommend that they don't miss this? If this is your first time to Red River Gorge, what would you say?
Yeah, so that is kind of our bread and butter, outdoor recreation and adventure. So the Kentucky Department of Tourism has identified three main pillars of Kentucky tourism. So you have your bourbon, your horses, and then your outdoor recreation and adventure. And so that third one there is like our primo bread and butter, right?
Yeah.
And so I would always recommend people go see Natural Bridge. So it's our state park here. It's one of the original 4 state parks, and it's actually celebrating its 100-year anniversary this year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yay.
exactly.
It is so beautiful. For those who scared of heights, stay in the center, but it is beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
And like when you're on top of the bridge, you've been up there, right? So when you're on that bridge, you get this expansive view and you're like, whoa, this is cool. And that's what helps your connection. That's what helps you kind of understand the area and really deepen that connection to the natural world.
Absolutely.
So I would say Natural Bridge is a must. My other favorite trail is called Rock Bridge in Creation Falls. It's a waterfall, and then Rock Bridge is the only arch in the area that spans over water. So it's a really, really cool, and it's an accessible hike. It's only 1.5 miles. So a lot of families do it because you can also go and splash around in the water down there at the waterfall and play around and stuff. And that was actually the first trail I did here. And so that's why that was, I think, part of the reason why I just really connected to the areas. I was just like pretty blown away by the natural beauty and the scenery. Another staple I would say is Miguel's Pizza. Yep.
Delicious.
A lot of people know it, but if it's your first time here, go for a long hike and then go get an ice cold ale 8 and a pizza, and you'll be in heaven. It's great. So I would say those are some of the staples, but some of the lesser known things that are also hidden gems, I would say, like up in Clay City, for example, there's the Kentucky Dragway. It's one of the oldest continuously running drag strips in the state. Mm-hmm. There's also Meadowgreen Appalachian Music Park, which has world-class bluegrass music on most Saturdays. Their season is actually from October through April, but they also have a big bluegrass festival coming up in August called Crow Fest. It is, just a really good time, and it's in this old barn that they converted into this venue, and it is just old school. It feels like you're walking into a time capsule when you get in there, but the music is amazing. The sound is amazing. And they've got like soup, beans, and cornbread and chili dogs, and it's great. So I would say those are some hidden gems as well. And then also like the Kentucky Reptile Zoo is here. That's actually right behind the visitor center here. And they have one of, if not the largest venomous snake collection in the world. So I know a lot of people don't like snakes. I like snakes, but I'm not a spider. If you get a spider on me, I'll freak out. But snakes are cool. But the Kentucky Reptile Zoo is super cool. There's just a lot of like kind of unique and interesting things as well that people need to see. Like there's, mini golf, and there's underground kayaking in the Gorge Underground. There's off-roading. Basically any outdoor activity you can think of, we've probably got it.
There you go. Well, you've given us a lot. I've been able to check off a lot of those on my list, but there's quite a few. That underground kayaking, I've been.
Well, if you want to come on out, you let me know, okay?
There you go. All right. So we talked about sort of the natural beauty and the outdoor adventure and activity. So let's change gears a little bit. What do you wish people better understood about the communities and the people who call Powell County and River Gorge area home, like you and your wife?
So my wife and I, we chose to move out here, like because we love it, and that has happened with a lot of people. There's a lot of transplants out here, but there's also still a lot of locals, and so that also just goes back to us wanting to try to. We don't want to drive the locals out, so like we want to preserve that integrity of the area. We want to like make sure that they also have a say, and they are involved in the community, working with the local elected officials. Like I have a good working relationship with my judge executive. I don't want them to feel like I'm an outsider coming in and trying to dominate an area, right? Or put my beliefs and my values on this area. I want to be immersed in this area and what it already has to offer.
So I am sure that you all at the Tourism Commission have a lot of partnerships and things of that nature. So is there like a community success story that sticks out in your mind, maybe launching a new business or bringing something new to the area that you're like, oh, in my time here as executive director, this really was one where I was like really excited about it?
Yeah, there's a couple I can briefly talk about. One of which is when I first started, we had just gotten on board with a multi-jurisdictional regional campaign with the Fellowship of the Gorge, so the 5-county region. So the state had released some what's called ARPA funds, the American Rescue Plan Act funds, and so we had applied for a wayfinding signage campaign. So if any of your listeners have been here recently in the last couple of years, we've had some new big red signs put up that says Red River Gorge Scenic Loop this way, Nada Tunnel this way, Frenchburg this way, Campton this way, et cetera, et cetera. That project has been pretty monumental for us, and we're currently working on more funding for it because signs are very expensive.
Yeah.
But the project itself is very important because it really ties into what I was talking about earlier about tying the region together. Because if you see one of these big signs that has our Red River Gorge logo up top, you're in the right place. And it really helps kind of disperse people out into these other areas that might have some attractions or something different. We're all for collaborations, and I think that if you aren't willing to collaborate, you're not going to succeed.
I love that. I love collaboration, and we can just have a greater impact for good when we all work together instead of trying to be siloed. So I love that, and I think about that in the area, and knowing that previous guests we've had on talk about tourism, that you were familiar with them and the things that are happening in other parts of Kentucky, and I think ways to connect that is super, super inspiring. And so, Pete, we've actually come to the end of our conversation today, and we always end with this question for our guests. The mission statement of Christian Appalachian Project is building hope, transforming lives, and sharing Christ's love through service in Appalachia. When we think of those 4 words, hope, transformation, love, and service, which one of those stands out to you when you think about the Red River Gorge and the people of Appalachia?
I would say love, because if you don't have love, then you can't have any of the other things. I think that when you have a love of your neighborhood or your community or yourself, you have to love yourself too, right? You have to love your neighbors. I think that everything kind of stems from that. I think it would be hard to have any of the other things if you didn't have love.
Yeah, awesome. Pete, thank you so much for being on the show today. I hope people are making those summer plans. We still have some warm months to come, and then some nice fall. Natural Bridge is also a great place to walk in the fall when all the leaves change colors. It's so beautiful. So I hope people are making plans, but thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. I super appreciate it. Let me know if you ever come down again.
I will indeed. I don't normally ask the guests this, but I'm going to ask you this. So where can people find out more about Red River Gorge in terms of social media or website, things like that? If they're like, yes, I got to get out there. Where can they find more?
Absolutely, yes. So follow us on Facebook. Our Facebook is Powell County Tourism - Red River Gorge. We post weekly events on there. We keep our events calendar updated on our website as well. So our website is gopoco.org. That's short for Go Powell County. So gopoco.org. We've got all of our lodging on there, attractions, our up-to-date events calendar. We have tons of stuff going on all the time. So make a plan, come out and visit us, and stop in the Red River Gorge Visitor Center and say hi.
Yay, thank you. Pete, thank you so much for joining us today. Your passion for Red River Gorge and just hearing your story about how you and your wife came to live in the area and support what's going on there has really been inspiring. And it reminds me of so much of just like where the places that you love and investing in them for future generations as well. So thanks again. It's been a joy.
Thank you so much. I super appreciate it.
Our guest today has been Pete Fingerson, the Executive Director of the Powell County Tourism Commission and operator of the Red River Gorge Visitor Center. Thanks for listening. You can catch new episodes every Tuesday, and please invite your friends to listen too. You can follow the work of Christian Appalachian Project on all social media channels and find the show at christianapp.org/podcast or wherever you get your favorite podcast. If you like the show, be sure to follow, subscribe, and join for our next episode. That shows that you support the show and it helps others to find us as well. Until next time, this is the Mountain Spirit. Keep listening, keep learning, and keep lifting up Appalachian voices. We'll see you next week.